So there has been an ongoing theme in the videos that I've done when I talk about politics, I guess, um, that we live in a world of deception. And this, every now and again, we get an illustration of this that I think is needs to be jumped on, needs to be explained, needs to be focused on, needs to be um, thrown out to the masses to make sure everybody sees what I'm seeing. Uh, so by now, I'm sure everybody's heard about um, the GameStop stock fiasco, and this to me is an enlightening situation because it isn't just about stock. Okay, so I, I think everybody's heard about it, but look briefly because I had to be explained this too because I have no idea. I don't do stocks, so that's probably why I don't have any money. Um, but here's the deal. So to summarize, as best I understand it, is a bunch of people from Reddit decided that they noticed a hedge fund was attempting to short a stock, which means basically, and I didn't realize this until recently, that hedge funds could somehow borrow stocks without paying for them. So they could push directional, they could force stocks selling or buying and basically sway the value. And so that what they were trying to do was be able to sway it in such a way that when they sold the stock back, they could basically um, take recruit the difference in profit. But what ended up happening was people on Reddit saw this was happening, and I assume maybe because people on Reddit, um, maybe a lot of them play video games. I'm not real sure, but so anyway, but what ended up happening was they in mass uh, spoke, organized, got together, and decided we would, hey, everybody, let's buy this stock. And it was cheap, and everybody began buying this stock. So the price went up, right? That's how stocks work. And so the hedge fund company lost, I think they said over $13 billion on this transaction. And so it isn't about what happened here. It's about the reaction to what happened that I want to point out. Because what happened here is that the elites, the powerful, that's the structure, those who are in who are in the structure, who are nestled in it, um, who I don't know how else to say it, but they're the elites, right? They were the ones that were burned. So the common people, the average Joe, got together and took advantage of a system that hedge funds were taking advantage of for a long time. They did nothing wrong. This is how stocks work. But what ended up happening was because the rich and the powerful lost money, the rules got changed. And this is what is illustrative of this situation for everybody. And this is what everybody needs to know about this. This is the issue. This is one of the things I keep trying to explain to people because there are people who are left-leaning people politically, and they're good people. So the difference between me who on the right and somebody on the left isn't powerful. We're not like a lot of the I'm talking about the people I know, we're not powerful people. We're just basic people. But yet we're split and we're divided on how we think the government ought to be run. And what I really want to point out here is that it should not be that way. It should, I mean, okay, we can disagree about certain things, but we shouldn't be so divided that we don't realize what is going on, which is to say that the small, normal, everyday person ought to be aligned together for the most part against those who are rich and powerful, because they don't have our best interest. They cheat. The whole system is rigged, and the whole thing is like a disguise. It's a bait and switch. It's deception. This is one of the things I want to focus on, because what this illustrates is how the deception works. So the average Joe got together, did something within the system, and the elites decided that we can't let freedom take place. We're going to have to change the rules. Okay? We're going to change the rules because they don't favor us anymore. And I want you to focus on that, because that's what happens all the time. That's what the elites do. The way the law is set up. So this is why I keep this is the frustration for me, is because the left and the right should be coming together at this point, because so the left is upset that the justice system is unfair. They say that cops abuse minorities. Okay? They're right in a certain sense. Okay? They're right in this sense. Minorities are abused and the justice system is unfair. The problem is what they're missing is that the reason the justice system is unfair is because it favors the rich. It isn't white and black. White and black is an excuse. The truth is that if you had a black powerful person, like Barack Obama, he's not going to get treated like the poor black person is in the justice system. He will get special treatment, just like Hillary Clinton has got. It isn't white. It isn't black. Okay, it's the powerful. It is a good old boy system, but the distraction is to say that it's white. The distraction is when they do that stuff. It is a red herring. It's to get you off of the truth, because they know when the common people, the black and the white common people, come together and see what's going on, they will know that's the jig is up for them. So they have to split us apart, and that's how this stuff works. And that's why this situation, to me, is something that should be pointed out, because this is who on Reddit. I mean, the people on Reddit. Do you know their race? Do you know? I mean, you don't. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that the elites did not make that decision. So the elites changed the game. And here's what I want to focus on. So the justice system is broke. So the left would agree with that. I think the left would agree with me that the justice system is broke. Okay? It is unfair. It is unjust. Okay? It's the opposite of justice. Okay? And so what I want to point out to people is that, so when it comes to the election that we had, when people like me go, hey, do you guys realize, have you noticed the fact that 6 swing states stopped voting? They stopped counting. And then all of a sudden, things went a little weird. Like the numbers didn't make sense. Do you notice that Obama won over 1,000 counties, Trump won over 1,000 counties in 2016, Biden only won over 400 counties. Somehow he got the most amount of votes ever. You know what I'm saying? You have to stop and look at what's going on. It isn't sour grapes. It isn't just people, oh, we wanted Trump to win. That's not what happened. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is, in this stock situation, you see this with so maybe I forgot to mention this part. Maybe I just assume everybody's aware of this, but so a lot of people, the common Joe, because we all have our phones, and it's funny because I haven't got a Robinhood account. I've had my neighbors, Actually, they're all family that had different conversations where this Robinhood app came up, and they were talking about, what do you call it, cryptocurrency you can do and stocks, and I was like, oh man, that sounds like a good idea. I just never got an account, I just don't have a lot of money, so I don't hadn't got into that. But so the common people, the people I know, are on Robinhood doing this stuff, right? And so what do? They change the rules. They changed the rules for people, and they forced Robinhood to basically keep people in to I don't know how else to say it, but to abuse the people, their customer. Say, what they were free to do, now you're no longer free to do because you might cost the elites money. We now realize that even though it's supposed to be a free platform to do stuff, we're not going to allow you to do that anymore because the elites might lose money. And so they rigged the system after the fact. This is what I'm saying. People need to wake up and realize. People just dismiss when we say the election was rigged. They just dismiss it. They say, "Oh, courts threw it out." Folks, the left agrees the justice system is broke, and then they go, "Oh, but the courts say." You see what I'm saying? Isn't the justice system broke? Haven't we already established that? So why are you relying on the justice system's opinion when it comes to something like this? And you look, they rigged the system for stocks. They're not rigging the election? Of course they're rigging the election. That's what I'm saying, is that this situation isn't just isolated. It is a microcosm. It is an example of what happens in every facet of structure. So in our society, the government is pushing towards socialism. Now, the selling point of socialism is fairness. We're going to make things fair for everybody. Okay, that sells to the poor or lower middle class of society, because that's there's more people in that group. And if there's not enough, you can bring in immigrants, so this is why you have immigrants coming in. Folks, the elites aren't catering to the poor people for no reason. And socialism is top-down engineering. It's social engineering. It's the people in charge are able to manipulate the whole system. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to this. So everybody says fair. Look, we live in a society where words don't mean anything. The political correctness is postmodernism. And postmodernism is that words basically don't have meaning because they've been defined for you by society, so therefore you can just reinterpret words that you want. But the problem is that not everybody has that ability. Think about everybody doing their own language. It won't work. It won't work. So what does that mean? Again, what it means is that the elites are interpreting the language for us. What it means is that the elites are basically saying one thing but doing another, and that's how they justify it. That's all this whole thing is. It's a sleight of hand on reality. Think about that app Robinhood. I mean, it's named for the character who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. But right now it's doing the exact opposite. It's stealing the freedom from the poor because the rich have demanded it. You see, this is the real world. This is the real world. The way that it works is they put a label, because remember, they don't care about words. But they know you do, and they know everybody else operates by words. So they can take an app and they can call it Robinhood, and it doesn't matter whether it does the opposite of what Robinhood did. It doesn't matter. So they can take any word, and that's the trick too, because it's cover. It's cover for that. So in the election, as an example, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but this is something I noticed. So they have poll watchers, but they didn't let them watch. So what does that mean? What that means then is that they can say they had poll watchers, and they can justify the vote then without actually. It's like if somebody forged a check and they signed the signature, and all that mattered was that it was a signature, not that it was a legit signature. The signature is the whole way you figure out whether it was legit or not. But if all you do is go, well, there is a signature and it says the name of the person, so then the crime gets justified instead of being uprooted and exposed, right? So that's what I'm saying. So what happens is it flips. What was meant to actually be a check and a balance then becomes justifiable theft. You can then say, well, we had poll watchers. That's the thing. That's the way the system works. And I mean, I don't know where else to take this exactly right now, but I mean, I think that's just my lack of I mean, there's so many tangent points on this. It goes all over the place. And that's what I really want people to focus in on. This should not be a split between the left and the right. This should have been something. So one of the things I noticed was about this situation was Ted Cruz, who's on the right, AOC on the left, both had the same opinion on this, okay? Now then AOC came out and made a little comment about how she wasn't going to side with the right on this, and because that's not her job. Her job's to pretend. Her job's to pretend. The government pretends, and that's what I really want to focus in on, people. If the left and the right actually cared about their positions, they would see this as so for a glimpse, what we saw was true left and right philosophy, because neither one should be against this right now. But yet we lost an opportunity, and we've lost a lot of opportunities here. We lost a lot of opportunities, like George Floyd. The George Floyd situation was a lost opportunity. George Floyd, first of all, we took a guy who probably wasn't the greatest guy in the world and turned him into some sort of saint. And that's not what you want to do. But you could have made his life count for something, or his death, I should say. Because what happened to him was complete injustice and wrong. And it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter that he was on drugs or whatever. None of that matters. And the whole country was united on that situation, but then we got split off into our polarized partisan groups because of the rhetoric. And that's the thing that I think everybody needs to really jettison. We need to get out of that mindset. And so this situation here shows who the true enemy is. It's those who are running the system, those who are at the switches and the gears of the system. The people who can pick up the phone call and say, hey, stop allowing your customers to be able to buy that specific stock. Stop it. Hey, stop counting the votes. Stop it. You 6 states, stop counting the votes. Who are making these phone calls? Those are the people that are in charge. You want to know who's in charge? The people you cannot talk about. The people you can't speak about. Start looking around. When political correctness rears its head and defends a certain people, that's the people you can't talk about. That's the people in charge. And it isn't a race. It's a select group of rich people, probably multi-race people. And the race thing is a distraction to get us again. They have so many games they play with us. So many games. They run the every I mean all the everything is this way. And if it and what happens now is when you get certain pockets of different freedom aspects, when things get a little too free, then they start stopping things. And that's what we should really learn about this. And we should stop splitting up on this stuff. We can't just keep voting for people because we voted. That's how our parents voted. Um, if Joe Biden didn't win the election, he can't sign 40 executive orders to change all of our lives, to make, you know, even if they were better, and so far they all of them, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of them, but a lot of them have been pretty terrible. Um, and that's the thing. Like Joe Biden, his son. This when it comes to these rules, again, when I talked about who you can talk about Trump now. Could you talk about Hunter Biden? You can't talk about Hunter Biden. They stopped it. They stopped the story for Hunter Biden. I mean, think about that, guys. That's white privilege right there. But it isn't white. If it was Obama's son too, it wouldn't have mattered. That's what I'm saying. That whole thing's a distraction. There's privilege going on. It's people who, like hunters. You think the average crackhead is gonna get millions of dollars paid to them by China? No, but Biden's crackhead son does. That's the difference between them and us. And this GameStop Robin Hood thing is an example. It highlights the difference of treatment and how that works, how we get treated as basic, normal people compared to how they get treated, how they get protected. And that's, I think, what I'm trying. I've rambled a lot. I'm sorry, but anyway, but so I don't know. There it is. Hopefully, probably took longer than what I actually thought I was going to do, but if you like, share, and all that stuff. So maybe next time. Talk to you. Bye.